Hi, welcome everyone to this Career Expo session. I'm Nishi. I've had the privilege for over 15 years to create and deliver engaging programs for young people so that they can develop the skills that they need to have a successful future and become the next generation of leaders. Those of you who have listened in to the conversation with Bertha Coombs and Adobe's Brian Johnsrud, you would have heard that this week we are launching the Edit to every middle and high school student in the US, a program that has been successfully running in the UK and Europe for over 4 years. The Edit has been a collaboration with Sky and Adobe. The Edit will inspire the next generation of content creators, the media and digital innovators to find their voice and build essential skills for a digital world. A unique opportunity for students to use guided resources from NBC and use Adobe's editing tools. I'm delighted to be joined by Jesse Levinsky, Adobe's very own education evangelist. And for the next 25 minutes, he is going to tell us how we can use Adobe Express for the Edit and bring to life your stories, how you can land important messages and use creative tools. Welcome, Jesse.
So great to be here. Thanks for having me, Nishi.
Brilliant. So tell us, how is Adobe Express used and how will it really help us to bring the Edit into the classrooms, help teachers, help students, and create those newscasts that, and allow students to create their journalistic pieces. So I'm going to hand over to you because I know you've got some exciting things to show us. So over to you.
Sure. Before we jump in, again, I just wanted to say I'm so happy to be able to support such an important initiative. And I think Adobe's message for teachers and for students is that, creativity is accessible for all through a tool like Adobe Express. We know when we think of Adobe, we tend to think of like Photoshop and Premiere and really these, high-grade tools that industry professionals use. And sometimes that feels out of reach for our students who might have never used a creativity tool at all. So how does someone like that create a newscast or create an image? And really, that's what Adobe Express is. Adobe Express is our entry point tool to creativity. It allows us to do things like create anything you could really think of, images, videos, drawings, presentations, websites. And so what we're going to do today over the next 25 minutes, and I know that's not a lot of time, is to model how we can create something like a newscast in a tool like Adobe Express. So if you'll follow along with me, I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start off with our home screen for Adobe Express. Now, Adobe Express is available for all K-12 students free. So this is everything you're seeing is something that your schools can actually get free access to for students. And what we're going to do here is on our home screen, you see that I can really start off by doing any of the main functionalities that we see here, whether it's a drawing, a video, a graphic, a web page, or animating our voice, which we will take a look at in a little while. And I'm going to start off by making a video. Now, in the Edit, we know that the goal is really focused around wellness, right? Different types of wellness. So I'm going to do my video around physical wellness. We're going to do it around diet and eating well. So what I'm going to do to save time, I did pre-record my intro. And what I'm going to do, notice I have my my standard video size here. Over on my left-hand side, you'll notice there's a number of different options for me, whether it's starting from a template, which I could look for a newscast template, but I want to make my own. And under media, where it says add photos, music, or videos, notice I have the ability to search through Adobe Stock, which are professional grade images that allow me to actually take really great licensed content and use it in my video. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to videos and I'm going to choose to upload a video from my device. Remember, I pre-recorded an intro from a script that I made. And I just made this with my iPhone. And notice it doesn't fill the whole screen, right? So that's problem number one. Is I have my video, I recorded it, sounds good, but it doesn't quite fill up the screen exactly the way I want to. But if you'll notice, when I click on the image, and once it's done saving in a second, I'm going to be able to do something about that. I'm going to give it a second to finish uploading. But in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to think about, what do I want my background to look like, right? So even though you see the room behind me on this image, in this video, that's not the way we're going to, let me just name my document. I'm going to call this newscast. And once I do that, it's not fully ready, but I want to have a newscast background, right? The goal here is, what I want to do is I want to remove the background from my video, which is something I could do in Adobe Express, and add a newscast background to that. Now, I could search for and let's do it. I'm going to search my media here. I'm going to look for newsroom. And the images I'm seeing are of newsrooms, but they're not necessarily what I'm thinking of. Is I actually kind of want to sit behind the anchor desk almost. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to I'm going to create an image, but before that, let's just remove the background on our video. So that's cool. We remove images all the time, but video is another thing here. What I want is to get rid of the room behind me and just have me there speaking, so that I could put that background right behind it. Now, we'll give that a second to happen. But what's really great about Adobe Express is, whether I have an image, whether I have a video, notice that down on the bottom, you see that video timeline that you would really see with a video editing tool. This is all web-based. This is all happening right in the web. So notice my video's gone here. If I hit play. Hello, and welcome to today's Student News Report. I'm Jesse Lubinsky, and today we're diving into the topic of physical wellness, specifically focusing on how diet plays a crucial role in maintaining it. Perfect. So I have my video here. What I want to do is create that news background. What I'm going to do is, when I go to media, notice I have access to all those images here, but there's also a button called text to image. This is actually using generative AI powered by Firefly, which is kind of the brain behind all of our AI technology that we use at Adobe. I'm going to choose a widescreen background, and notice I'm going to actually scale it to the size of this image. I'm going to say a newsroom. And when I hit enter, it's going to actually give me 4 different options for what that newsroom could look like. And so, Nisha, you're going to help me out. You're going to tell me which newsroom you want me to be in for this newscast. So let's see when those options come up. And apologies for we have a person in there. I'm going to say no people. Let's do that one more time. That's the fun thing about AI. When I did this test right before we came on, I got a perfect newsroom with nothing. And it looks like we have some people, but we'll go with it for now.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's go with that one.
People there. We'll deal with that for now. The next thing is, and apologies for the notifications, I've turned off every window I possibly could and muted my computer, and somehow notifications are still coming through. I'm going to hit add scene here, because the nice part is, it's not only that I can create a 1-scene video, I can create multiple scenes. And so for this next scene in my script, I start talking about a balanced meal. Now, again, I could spend a lot of time going to look for images, but since I'm already on text to image, why don't we actually try to find one that we like? I'm going to say a healthy plate of food. So notice I have some really nice options here. I'll select this one, and I'll scale that out to my screen. Now, keep in mind, I didn't search for images. I used AI technology built into Adobe Express in order to generate that. So we generated our image here, but the one thing we don't have yet is my voiceover. So I'm going to actually go to audio and record a voiceover for this slide. So I'm going to hit record. And when I'm ready to start recording, it'll give me the 3, 2, 1. Our diet is like fuel for our bodies. Just like a car needs the right amount of fuel to run efficiently, our bodies require a balanced diet to function optimally. I'll hit finish recording. Our voiceover showed up down here on the bottom. The one tricky part, though, is notice our image wasn't there for that long. So all I have to do is get out to the length of the length of the voiceover, and now that should work. So let's go right here and just see that. And how diet plays a crucial role in maintaining it. Our diet is like fuel for our bodies, just like a car. So you see, now we have 2 scenes within our newscast. But what if we want to start to add some other elements to this? So what we could do is, let's actually create one more scene over here. And on this scene, I'm going to go back and do the same thing I did before. Let's actually go back to our images and let's do same thing, except this time an unhealthy plate of food. I'm a little nervous about what's going to come up with this, right? That's the nice part, is you never know it. If we're not getting specific, we're not sure what's going to be on that unhealthy plate of food. So unfortunately, if it comes up with some of your favorite things, we'll have to talk about that later. But for now, let's see what our options are. So this is Adobe Express. I saw the question in the chat for those wondering. This is all web. It can happen on a Chrome browser. Any web-based device can support using Adobe Express. You have full editing in here. Now, this is probably something I would really love to eat, but unfortunately for the purposes of this video, or my healthy newscast video, I'm going to put that in here, and I'll do another voiceover.
Jesse, can I ask the question? What tools do you think, in terms of devices, would be really great in order to use Adobe Express? Is it open to all devices? So
this is the best part, right? If you have a web browser that can support Adobe Express, you can use it. Meaning, typically when we've had to do video editing, right? And I'm sure you've known this for years, right? In your business, that requires like heavy duty computers with video editing software. The beauty is we're bringing video editing right to any browser. So as long as you can support a Chrome browser, you can use that. You can use Adobe Express. We're actually going to be re-releasing our app soon. So on tablet devices soon, you'll be able to do this as well. So all of these devices that are in the hands of students already, our goal is to ensure that they have access to be able to do this. So
this could be on your iPhone. This could be on an iPad. It's simple as that.
I will say soon for tablets, but we do have a mobile version where you would be able to do like an iPhone, but not yet a full tablet. We did have that, but we did an overhaul to get this great video editing that we have here, the video editing tool that we have here. So that's coming shortly. But right now, if you have Chrome on any kind of laptop, desktop, Chromebook type device, that would actually work. Everything you're seeing that I'm doing right now can be done on that. And again, for our K-12 students, this is free. And colleges, it goes depending on where you are. But yeah. So, and actually, rather than show you the same function again, let's just pretend like I did my voiceover for this one. But maybe on my next slide, I actually want to add an animation on I want to add some animations to it, like as if I were doing a newscast and pieces were coming in a little bit at a time. So what I might do for this one is on the background, I may just want to say, let's just pick a generic background for now. I'm just going to add a generic background. We could always come back to that later. But on this slide, I wanted to talk about ways that we can really be healthy. So rather than talking about the unhealthy foods, we're going to talk about the types of things we'd want to incorporate into our diet in order to make them healthier. So the first thing we would want is we'd want fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to look, and you notice there's a search button up at the top. I love using that search button because that search button, if I search for fruits and vegetables, it's going to show me all different types of fruits and vegetables, not just videos, not just photos. It'll show me every asset we have in here. So notice I have photos, videos, icons, but this is actually kind of exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm going to bring this in here. Oops. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to remove the background. And notice removing the background is just a simple one-click process. So I have my fruits appear. But here's the thing. I don't want them to just be sitting there on my screen when we start that. I want that to come in as I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. So I'm going to scroll down and notice there's an animation button here. On that animation button, I could actually add an animation to have it transition in when I'm ready to start talking about fruits and vegetables. So how about we have it, Yeah, we can have it bungee in. So we'll have it bungee in when we're going to start talking about fruits and vegetables. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is we want whole grains. So I'm going to search for whole grains. And for this one, what might be a nice option here is include this video. Now, rather than make the video a separate scene, I'm going to crop this with kind of like an oval, like some nice rounding on the edges. As a shape, we'll have that drop in, or we'll have that drop in as well. Now down here toward the bottom, because I know, Nisha, you probably had the experience of doing some significant video editing during your time. When I hit show layer, this layer timing is really for those people who want to control. Notice on this one scene, I have multiple objects that I'm going to want to transition in. When I click on that object, I can see when it transitions in. So let's say I don't want this to be here in the beginning. I can have it transition in after a few seconds. So if I go to the beginning of my scene and play it, notice it'll go for a second and then it'll bounce in. So I'm going to actually do the same thing with my grains, but I'm going to wait to do that one until I do my voiceover. Because when I do my voiceover, then I'll know exactly how to bring those elements into my video.
So we have a really interesting question about that, and talking about layers. We have a question from Emily Henry.
Sure.
How many layers of audio are permitted?
So it's interesting. With audio, I can layer on multiple, like I can have multiple videos. I can have multiple, I theoretically could have multiple audio tracks if I wanted to. Typically what we'll do is we'll bring in other elements, like an animation with audio, and have that be in there. You can have multiple videos playing at the same time. So that's a nice little piece here that we can add. I'm just going to quickly, let's look for proteins. I'll look for meat. And same thing here. We have a nice steak. We'll wait till that comes in, and then we'll remove the background on that as well. Once that finishes loading in here. Perfect. And so then I'll quickly model how we can switch the timing on these elements. I'm just being sensitive of time because I know we want to leave time for questions. I do want to show one other feature too that I'm excited about showing. So I have my 3 elements that I know I'm going to want for the totality of this scene. What I'm going to do now is do that voiceover again. I'm going to go back to media, go back to audio. I'll hit record voiceover. Give me 1 second. Hit start recording. Firstly, incorporating plenty of fruits and vegetables into our meals provides essential vitamins, minerals, and fibers, which are vital for maintaining a strong immune system and promoting overall health. Secondly, opting for whole grains instead of refined grains can help stabilize blood sugar levels, improve digestion, and provide long-lasting energy throughout the day. I'm going to stop there and not do the last one, but I just want to show you how we can do the transition there. So notice I have my voiceover. I'm going to bring it back to the start of where I was. And I'm watching my timing as I hit play to see where fruits and vegetables get mentioned first. Firstly, incorporating plenty of fruits and vegetables into our... Okay, so they came in a few seconds in. What I want to do now with my fruits and vegetables, I just want to bring them in a little bit later. Let's try that one more time. Firstly, incorporating plenty of fruits and vegetables into our meals provides essential... So I could do the same thing. I'm not going to, just for time's sake, I won't do it for the other elements, but you get the idea of once I have that in place, I can then maneuver that scene however I want and make it as long or as short to match my to match the length of my voiceover. So it's really nice because all of this, again, is being done right in my web browser. I'm not downloading any kind of fancy tool to do this. I'm just simply opening my web page, opening Express, and creating. Now you'll notice I haven't hit save the entire time. Right? And that's because this has been saving into the cloud as I've been doing it. So if I ever want to go back and continue editing it, on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a Your Stuff button. All of your stuff gets saved right into there. And that's not just your files or your videos, but it's also libraries or brands that you might create if you want to apply the same type of branding to your content over and over again. Now, for my grand finale, I want to appear on screen again. But I'm actually going to do it a little bit differently this time because I did not record a video ahead of time for myself. And to be honest, I don't really want to record a video because I don't want to be on screen again. I'm going to actually go to my homepage in Adobe Express. And I might have to stop sharing and share. Wait, did you guys see that when I switched over? No. So let's stop sharing for a second. I'm going to reshare my screen. And this is really exciting. This is one of my favorite tools within Adobe Express. So I'm back at the home page, and what I'm going to hit is animate from audio. For the final scene, what I want to do is actually use an animated character to represent me while I do my speaking. And actually, you know what? I wasn't even thinking of which character to use yet, but the hot dog might actually be perfect for my. Not a healthy option necessarily. Let's pretend. I see Nishi's giving me the judging look already. That I might have not picked the healthy food option. You know what? Okay, you're right. Let's pick a different one. I have a food category here. I think maybe the avocado might be appropriate. So I'm going to be the healthy avocado. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit record. But before I do, one of my favorite things is the little enhanced speech toggle you see at the bottom. If I were to toggle that on, if I were recording in a class of 30 students, you would not be able to hear anything other than what was recorded directly in front of my device. So now for teachers who are worried, what do I do about recording? Because I have so many kids in my classroom at once trying to record, they can all record here at the same time by checking off that enhanced speech button. But for now, let's just record, and you're going to see what's going to happen right after I finish recording. Incorporating these dietary habits into our daily routine can lead to improved physical wellness, increased energy levels, and a reduced risk of chronic diseases. Remember, small changes in our diet can lead to significant improvements in our overall health. That's all for today's report. Thanks for watching. I'm going to hit done, and we're going to give it a moment. We're going to pretend like I didn't make a verbal flub there because otherwise I would have restarted it, but for time, I'm not going to do that. And what it's doing is it's taking my audio, and it is syncing it to my voice and animating the character based on my voice. So all the idiosyncrasies in my voice, it's matching up the video, the avocado to me. Now I'm from just outside New York, and I will say, I don't know if this is a product design or not, but a lot of hand waving from New Yorkers. So like we're big hand talkers. So you might see that in my healthy avocado. So it's almost done. And let's see what we came up with here. Incorporating these dietary habits into our daily routine can lead to improved physical wellness, increased energy levels, and a reduced risk of chronic. Okay, so you see, I recorded that final scene of my graphic. What I want to do here, this is a little trick, by the way, I'm showing you. I'm going to try to manage this by sharing screens, but I'm going to call this avocado project. And what I want to do here is it's saving my file. We're going to give it a moment to save up to the cloud. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this scene. And I'm leaving you all for a moment. But I'm going to be back in a second.
We'll be heading straight to Q&A in just 1 minute.
We're almost there. The big finale is about to happen. So I'm going to come back to our main screen. And notice all I did was a copy and paste to bring my avocado recording into the project. So Nishi, we can pretend like I had time to finish the whole thing. But what I have here is an entire newscast scene by scene with the video built in that I actually recorded myself. Remember, we removed the background, and using AI, we actually created a newsroom that I was sitting in for me to be doing that speaking. We then actually used AI again to create images of healthy food and unhealthy food to do voiceover there. Thank you for that.
That's very good.
Good. I started to model how we can actually have elements come in during different moments of that voiceover. And then finally, we animated a character for our grand finale to actually give that big punch ending to my newscast. And so I'm going to stop sharing, but we wanted to leave time for QA and just talk about different strategies and ideas. But Nishi, hopefully you approved of my newscast. It wasn't fully published.
It was an excellent newscast. And we did that in 25 minutes, and you created that sort of, it was 1 minute 16 seconds news report, which is exactly what the edit is. It's creating a 90 seconds clip, and it was so easy and brilliant to see that happening using Adobe Express. We have got some questions coming in. We've got somebody who wants to come on camera. Sakina Allen has requested to come on camera, so if we can bring her on, she can ask her question. She's ready. If not, we'll go to Denise Diaz, who also wants to come on camera. Oh, we have Skner. Am I saying your name right?
Well, the good news is someone will be coming on camera momentarily to ask.
There will be. There will.
We are really excited, and thank you all for the feedback in the chat. Bravocado made my day.
That was a very good one.
Yes. And yes, Shakira, thank you for your comment regarding the addition of Express to our suite of offerings. We view Adobe Express in many ways, again, like I said, is that gateway tool to creativity. We want students to be empowered to be able to create at any grade level in any subject area. And so the idea here is that any student can create content, even if they've never touched a video editing tool at all. That experience shouldn't be the barrier to adoption, right? Any teacher can design instruction around using a tool like Adobe Express. And the edit is such a great example of giving students that creative entry point for content that they can create, that they're excited about, and really, passionate about tapping into all those things that they really want to do and love.
Okay. Denise Diaz, are you ready to come on camera to ask your question? Okay. Let's go to Lauren. Lauren Cabrera. You've also asked to come on camera to ask your question.
Come join us. We are waiting.
Don't be shy.
Live on camera.
Okay. I think she's just coming through any second. Oh, Lauren, great to have you.
Hi, Lauren.
Thank you for joining us.
Hello, how are you? Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
I am an audio-visual production teacher at High Tech High School. It's a vocational school. I did just apply for our students to start the edit project because I wanted to bring that on board here. This will be my first time using Express. It's just launching now, right?
Yes, it's available from today.
Okay, awesome. So this will be my first time using this. Are there any things or any advice that you can give me when incorporating this into the classroom and teaching this to my students? I teach high school, freshman through senior.
So amazing question. And again, perfect timing. We just released something called guided activities. So right when you open Adobe Express and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see that there are guided activities. There's 4 activities there that actually will take you step by step with little tutorials on how you can leverage this in the project. There's one on AI. There's one on creating like a creative identity. So having the students talk a little bit about like who I am and what gets them excited, the type of things that get them excited. So it's designed to give them some experience creating in the tool before diving into like a full-blown project like the edit. Because we know sometimes when people are unfamiliar with a tool, there's a little apprehensive, stress around creation, especially, we talk about creativity all the time. I work for Adobe and I wouldn't necessarily call myself a creative. I stress out if you give me like a blank piece of paper to draw. But what's great is we have thousands of pre-made templates that are starters for you or your students to be able to use to kind of get started. And I mentioned before at the start of the creation period during the session that there is like a newscast template you theoretically could use. So what's great is if you or one of your students even wanted to create like a rough template of what this could look like, well, you can make that a remixable link and share that out with your students, so your students all have a starting point for which to go off of.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
I have one more question for you. Do you see Adobe hosting any workshops in the future? on this platform for students, for my students and I to attend?
We are looking to see what the appetite is. Obviously, as you just heard, we just launched today. Today is a special, and we've got the pleasure of having Jessie with us today. But we can absolutely look to see how we can create if you go onto the web portal, you will see there are teacher guides there that will help you step by step go through the program so you can successfully deliver it in the classroom with your students. So we have designed and created it to be very easy for every teacher and educator to be able to do with their students. So please do use those, but absolutely, if in the future we are going to be doing more of these types of sessions, as a registered teacher, you will be able to access that.
I'll also say, Lauren, we have an education exchange, which has a ton of free resources and content, including like self-paced learning resources. And that address is edx.adobe.com.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we've had another question from Julia Cameron. Can college students also participate in the edit challenges? It has been designed for middle and high school students. So at the moment, in terms of access, it is accessible to them. But we are giving access to all educators to be able to have access to the content. And at the moment, that's the focus for us for the edit. But absolutely, as an educator, please do access the content as well. Jessie, this session is about sort of leadership, and today we've talked a lot about leadership. What would you say are those top 3 skills for young people that they need going into the workplace for the future?
So it's interesting. There was a study released a few weeks ago, and it was done by PaperMate, interestingly enough. And it was a study based on what students wanted, or what Gen Z kind of wants to be remembered for. What do they want their legacy to be? And what was interesting was creativity was the #1 thing that they wanted to be remembered for. And that was over like wealth, fame, things like that. And I would also argue that creativity is an essential skill as we start to move forward, because creativity is, we talk a lot about jobs of the future and kind of the unknown, and how a lot of college students will be stepping out into a workplace rapidly changing due to innovations like AI. And so what are the jobs like they're going out there going to look like? So flexibility is incredibly important. I would say creativity is right there at the top of the list. And, you know, as a third, this is more advice than like kind of like a checkmark thing. But I think the one piece of advice I always give to students is it's never too early to start to build your network and start to put yourselves out there. And one of the ways you can do that is by all of these creative artifacts that you're building, that you're creating. Create a space for that dialogue to start by putting your work out there. And a lot of people do that already, put their work out there, but that's how you start to get known and make connections. And ultimately that will help provide so many opportunities for you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Being able to kind of problem solve and have that flexibility when those situations comes up, and being able to kind of communicate and, you know, expand your network is key. Jessie, can I ask, what was your career journey? What's your journey to success?
Oh wow, I don't know if we have enough time for that one, but the 30 second version. I actually started out working in tech right out of college. So I worked, I was a technology consultant for Fortune 500 companies. And when the tech bubble burst, I went into teaching. I actually made a complete career change. I was a teaching fellow in New York City. I was a classroom teacher in the Bronx. I taught for nearly a decade. And then I was a district technology director for another decade. And just before the pandemic, I actually left public education and wound up co-founding a startup with a few colleagues. And I'm, as you can tell, working for Adobe. I'm interested in technology. I wrote books on AR and VR as well as esports. And I've been fortunate enough to kind of dotted line find my way to Adobe, where I get to support teachers and students in their classroom every day. And it's really just such a passion of mine. And I'm so happy to be where I am right now.
Brilliant. On that point as well, we've had another question come in for Michelle. What other resources would you recommend that they should look into? You know, obviously we have Adobe Express and including Photoshop or other products, Adobe products. What are those other things that we people could be using as well?
So I'm actually gonna I kind of said that answer a little bit before, but I'll reroute people back to that education exchange page. Again, edx.adobe.com, edex.adobe.com. That education exchange contains thousands of lesson plans, monthly creative challenges, and resources to support learning in the classroom. And they're all developed by our incredible content team, in partnership sometimes with our community and evangelism teams here at Adobe. So it is really just such a great place to capture. If you're looking to tap into like the learning opportunities that we have available to you, the schedule for opportunities is there as well, including self-paced courses, which those self-paced courses lead to micro-credentials that you can earn simply for taking the different 30-minute classes that we have available that will train you as well as provide that micro-credential, which goes back to my point earlier, can help you develop out your network.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm just wondering if there's any final questions before we unfortunately have to wrap up our session. So any other final questions from anyone else? Okay, so thank you, Jesse, for taking the time to showcase the power of creativity. It's been a pleasure to see how digital storytelling skills can be brought to life through the edit. These skills are essential, as we know, for going forward in a more digital world. Thank you again to our audience for joining us and hearing all about how we can use Adobe software and those software to really create your own journalistic pieces and bring your stories to life. If you are an educator, please head over to our web portal. You can register there, download and access all of the resources to take your students through the journey and be able to give them a voice. Students, please do tell your teachers about the edit so you can have the opportunity to develop your skills for a digital future and also have a voice and talk about the things that you care about. Thank you again, Jesse, and thank you everyone for joining us. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.